How many classifications of laws can you list? Let me know in the comment section and walk with me to the end of the video as I explain it. Remember to share and leave a like as well. And today is a very important day for Law Hub. Can you guess what we are celebrating today? The first classification of law that I'll be looking at is common law and equity. Now, a brief history of common law is that after Norman conquest of England, there was need for them to have a uniform pattern of governance for England, since before the conquest, various parts of England had their own laws and customs. So Norman rulers then sent out their representatives to the various regions in England. These representatives will oversee the administration and report back to the Norman rulers. So by a series of applying the uniform laws, shifting and then adopting laws that they consider reasonable and rejecting those that they considered unjustifiable or unreasonable, they now crystallized a law called common law, meaning that it is uniform in all regions of England. But since people were dissatisfied with how the representatives handled the case, they went ahead to petition the king, that is the Norman rulers. On most cases, the king will hand over the petitions to the chancellor for the chancellor to oversee it and then address the issue. But since people were dissatisfied with how the representatives handled the case, and gradually the chancellor then set up courts, and this makes mention of the fact that the chancellor didn't recognize new actions but rather created new remedies. I need to make mention of the fact that chancellors, who are the people that the king will direct the petitions to, were members of the clergy. So they gave their rules and mirrored it down to ecclesiastical learning. So in order for them to cure this defect, chancellors then began to follow previous decisions, and gradually the chancery court then developed the term called equity. Equity arose as a result of the hardship and high-handedness and technicality of common law. So equity came in order to mitigate such hardships. But equity didn't do away with common law, since it seemed that without common law, equity would just be flying in the mid-air with nowhere to land. Equity gave rise to rules such as equity of redemption, concepts of trust and mortgage. I've explained that in previous videos. Now, there are several differences between the common law and equity, one of which is common law acts in rem while equity acts in personam. Equity does not supplement common law but overrides it when there are issues of conflict. Another classification of law is criminal law and civil law. I've explained the difference between criminal law and civil law in previous videos. Another classification is public and private law. Then one more classification is substantive and procedural law. In simple terms, substantive law is what you do in law undergraduate studies, while procedural law is what you do in law school. That is, substantive law has to do with all those rules, the regulations, etc. While procedural laws, that has to do with how do you present your case, in what course does it fall under, all those processes of applying the rules and the regulation. That is procedural law, also called adjectival laws. So I will stop here for today on the classification of law. Now, what makes today special for Law Hub is today is my birthday. Remember to ask your questions, share the video. Thank you for engaging in the next legal space.